In this video, I'm going to show you quickly how to use the Resize Selected Shapes group in the Design tab of the Timesavers add-in. This group is there to help you to quickly and easily resize shapes in your presentation, either separately or together, and to scale the font at the same time. So when you want to use this, the first thing you need to do is select the shapes that you want to resize. And then I'm going to first look at these options over here. This allows you to just size it up or down by 10% or 2%. Either separately or together. So if I first do the separately option, you can see that each shape is being sized separately, and their fonts are getting bigger as I make the shapes bigger, or smaller as I make the shapes smaller. And I can do it in smaller increments like this as well. And then I've got my together option as well. So let me just make those like that. Then my together option treats it as a unit. So they will be made bigger or smaller together as a unit, as though they were grouped. But it's also scaling your font at the same time. So that's how you use those buttons over there. Then you've got these options over here. Now these options allow you to change the shape of, or change the size of shapes in your presentation. If you use these buttons over here, then you can change the size of shapes based on the size of another shape. Or if you use these buttons at the bottom, then you can change the size of shapes based on the size of the slide. You can also choose if you want to keep the aspect ratio the same, and if you want to size from the center. Okay, so first I'm going to show you these options over here for when you're wanting to size shapes based on another shape. Okay, so whichever shape you select first is going to become your reference shape, and it is going to be the one that the other shapes are changed based on. So I'm just going to make this one a little bit bigger like that. Okay, now I'm going to select the blue one. This is going to be my reference shape, and then I select my other shapes like that. I'm going to start off by not keeping the aspect ratio the same, and then I'll show you the difference when you do keep the aspect ratio the same. So now the blue one, like I said, is my reference shape. So if I click on this, it means that the other two shapes will be changed to have the same width as my blue shape. So if I click on there, you can see that they both now have been given the same width as the blue shape. Then if I undo that and I click on this one, it's going to give them the same height as my blue shape. Okay. Because I chose not to keep the aspect ratio the same, they've been stretched to get the same height as the blue shape. Then if I click on this one over here, they will have the same height and width as my blue shape. Okay, so now if I choose to keep the aspect ratio, then it's going to end up looking like this. So if I take, again, the same buttons and I click on this one, my blue shape is still my reference shape, but now I'm keeping the aspect ratio the same. So when I click on this, the shape is going to be scaled so that the width is the same, but the height is also going to change so that it keeps the aspect ratio the same. The same thing with this one as well. Okay, then if I undo that and I click on this one to make the height the same thing. The whole shape gets scaled so that the height is now the same as my blue shape. Okay, then if I use this one, it's going to be changed so that whichever one will make it fit into the blue shape best is the one that will match the blue shape. Okay, so if I click on this one, in this case, the width has been changed to the same as the blue shape because that makes it fit. It would fit into the blue shape like that. Okay, it's not going to be made bigger than the blue shape. And this one, the height was made the same because, again, it's not going to be made bigger than the blue shape. Okay, so that's how you use those buttons. Now, if you want to use these buttons, this will help you to change the size of the shapes based on the size of the slide. Okay, so over here, if I click on these, now there's no reference shape because the slide is now it's the same as having the slide as a reference shape. Okay, so this one is going to make them have the same width as the slide. This will make them have the same height as the slide, and this will make them have the same dimensions, width and height, as the slide. If I choose not to keep the aspect ratio the same, then they'll be stretched, and if I choose to keep the aspect ratio the same, then the whole shape will be scaled. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to keep the aspect, or not keep the aspect ratio the same, and now when I click on this, they will be stretched to have the same width as the slide, or I can click on this one to make them stretched to have the same height as the slide, or I can click on this one, and then they will all be the same size as the slide. Okay, but if I choose to keep the aspect ratio the same, then when I click on this, the shapes will be resized completely to have the same width as the slide. If I click on this one, they'll be changed to have the same height as the slide, but they'll be scaled completely. And if I choose this one, then they will be scaled so that they fit into the slide best. Okay, so that's how you use those ones where you're working separately. You can also use these tools when you're working together if you want to keep them together as a unit. Now, when you're working with these ones, just like when we were doing it earlier, whichever shape you choose first is your reference shape, and the other shapes will then be changed based on your reference shape. So these ones will be treated as a unit, and they will be changed to be the same size as that one. Okay, so first of all, if I'm not keeping the aspect ratio the same, and I select that one first, then these two are going to be changed so that they have, if I click on this one, the same width, but together as a unit. So when I do that, you can see, let me not select that. If I do this now, together as a unit, they now fit the width of the blue shape. Okay, so now we select those again and just undo that. Okay, so now if I choose this one over here, they will be changed to have the same height as this one together. Okay, so again, if I do that, you can see that together they fit into the height of the blue shape. And then again, if I click on this one, they will now be made to fit exactly into this blue shape. So you can see if I do that, they fit exactly into that shape. Okay, now that's if I choose not to keep the aspect ratio the same. If I choose to keep the aspect ratio the same, then it's going to end up looking like this. So I start with those as my reference shape, and then I select those ones. Now I can go and click on this, and they are going to have the same width, but they have kept their aspect ratio. They haven't been stretched. Or I can click on this one, and then again they keep their aspect ratio, and together they have the same height as that shape. Or I can select this one, and again, whichever one is the best fit will then be chosen. So in this case, the height is what makes it the best fit. So that is what's been chosen to fit into this shape. Okay. And then just like we had the option for the slides over here, we have the same thing with this. Again, now these three will all be treated as a unit because there's no reference shape, because the slide is our reference now. So again, if I choose not to keep the aspect ratio, I can go and click on there, then they'll be stretched so that as a unit, they fit exactly onto the slide. Or I can click on this one, they'll be stretched so that as a unit, they fit onto the slide like that. Or I can click on this one, and then as a unit, they will fit exactly onto the slide like that. Okay. Or I can choose to keep the aspect ratio the same, in which case, when I click on this, I'm only making the width the same. So now it can go over like that. The width is going to be the same together as a unit. Or if I click on this one, the height is going to be the same like that. Or if I click on this one, whichever one makes it fit best. So the height made it fit best, so that's the one that's been chosen. And you also have the option of choosing if you wanted to size from the center. When you're working with these buttons over here, you can also choose if you want to size it from the center or not. So if I chose not to size it from the center, so let's just do this quickly. Then when it is sizing from the center, if I click on this, it goes like that. But if I choose not to size it from the center, it's just going to size like that. So sizing from the top left corner and sizing that way. So that's what this button is about. If you choose to not have it sized from the center, then that's entirely up to you. And that is how you use the Resize Selected Shapes group in the Design tab of the Time Savers add-in. I hope you have a fantastic day. Thank you. Goodbye.